chocolate buttons, chocolate buttons, chocolate buttons, chocolate buttons.
If you need instructions on how to get through the
chocolate buttons,
check out the enclosed
chocolate buttons.
Here we are.
Chocolate buttons! Chocolate buttons! Chocolate buttons! Chocolate buttons! Chocolate buttons! Aye! Chocolate buttons is right! Chocolate buttons! What?
Now look at this though. Come on. It's the reason for this is the price. Any free for £1. You know what that means? It means that one of these, if you do the mathematics, one of these is about 30 pence. 30 to 40 pence for one. So I was right. The Pass the Parcel Mr. Boom Girl got a gift worth about 40 pence. And in fact that was like 1994, so back then it would have been more like 18 pence. That was how much the prize in Pass the Parcel was worth. What a miserly Scottish school that must have been she went to. Let's try them. Of course, if I could actually open the packet, you wouldn't catch me doing any, like, This is why you wouldn't get me doing something like Dr. Stuart Ashen, PhD's Poundland supermarket item reviews, because I lack the professionalism to even be able to use both hands at once to open the stupid thing. Like I'm saying, that's what Dr. Ashen does. He's probably moved on to something else now. He's probably like, they've all jumped the shark at this point, haven't they? These 2008 reviewers on YouTube, these probably like, it like goes scuba diving with whale, orca, dolphins or something now. Whatever gets the viewer counts to go up, I suppose. Chocolate buttons. That was chocolate button. Oh. Ah. It tastes like a chocolate button. I don't know what I really expected. It tastes exactly how both I and you would expect it to. It's a chocolate button. Although if it's anything like the likes of Cadbury's cream eggs and all those other unsavoury chocolates, because they're sweet, it would be... They've probably been slowly making these little buttons so slightly smaller every few years, over time, gradually, to the point that they can end up getting away with selling like half as much stuff after 30 years and charging the same price. They've done science comparisons on this. People have kept cream eggs for like decades and then compared them directly with a modern one, and it has definitely gotten smaller over the years. So this is a skullduggerous capitalistic commercial practice that somehow continues to happen. I assume that technically it's legal. Trust me to take the Mr. Boom chocolate buttons showcase to go on a political communist tangent. But that's what I'm doing. Or at least I would do it if I could remember what... I'm going to eat this. If I could remember what I was just saying 20 seconds ago. I wish I had the little girl in Mr. Boom to tell me. They probably get away with doing this smallening of chocolates, because I'll bet that the packet must say, but it's like it says 45 grams there. That must be correct. Over the years that will be 40 grams and then it'll be 35 grams and so on. So they're not lying. They're just giving you less for the same amount of money and knowing that you won't know that they're doing that. So it's legal, but like with most things that are legal, it's also wrong. Now, what's this? Chocolate Chip says, this is a portion controlled pack. Well, gee willikers, thanks, Chocolate Chip. Chocolate buttons! Oh, here's another skullduggerous practice, kids. Well, not just kids, anybody really. Here's some good advice for you, if you ask me. You see have you ever noticed a lot of packets of chocolates and other stuff that's bad for you often has a label on the front saying something like this here. It's got 13% of your daily energy intake. It doesn't sound so bad when you read it that way, does it? You look at that and think, oh, I can eat this packet of chocolate buttons. It's only 13% of my daily stuff. That's not so bad. But here's the trick, guys, arrows. Here's the trap. Let's look at this over here. There's actually 5 different types of thing that you're supposed to have a daily intake of. Energy, or kcal here, is just one of them. There's many others, and when it comes to stuff like sweets, you'll often find that 3 or 4 of those 5 attributes doesn't have too much in it, but then the 5th one has like tons. Like, I'll bet, see the sugars there, that 29.85 grams of sugar, I'll bet that's like half of your daily sugar intake. I don't tell you that at the front. Saturate fats and sugars tend to be the ones. When I was doing my marathon training, when I ran the Edinburgh Marathon years ago, I learned about this stuff. I learned what the daily intake portions are for these. The saturates there, for a man, it's your daily saturated fat intake is 30 grams, which means that is like 1/3 of that right there. So there's 33% of your saturated fat. If you're a woman or a child, it's actually 20 grams of saturated fat as your maximum, which means this is almost half of that. 50% of your daily fat. Doesn't sound so great then, does it? Chocolate chip, you lying torag, portion controlled pack. What on earth does that even mean? What does portion controlled pack mean? Well, that's the trick. And there was a time when shops used to put all 5 of these attributes that I was talking about at the front and tell you how much of the percentage is on it. And they still do that sometimes. It's very convenient. But stuff like this tries to deceive you and make you think it's better than it really is. Don't listen to the lies, kids. So there you go. There's my advice. I bet Dr. Ashen wouldn't have given you some useful information like that. No, he would have just, like I said, gone scuba diving with orca whales. As I'm going to assume is what he does now to pay the bills. Just like Logan Paul is going off through gallivanting down Japanese suicide forests and whatever else. Whatever keeps the ratings up. Justin Bieber's getting into car crashes. Whatever pays the... Whatever. So what am I talking... That's chocolate buttons. Also, while I'm on it... I'm not finished. I've got some pencils in reserve. I'm going to have some pencils. Pencil bites.